Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Cindy here from CLB Craft Creations, and this is the card project that we're going to be making. We're using some products from our current occasions catalog as well as our celebration, and let's get started. Start with our piece of Irresistibly Yours celebration cardstock or designer series paper. I'm using the one that has the leaf image. I'm going to ink that. So this is a free product with the purchase of $50 or more. You can select one item for every $50 until March 31st. So this was one of the celebration items. I'm going to take Sahara Sand ink and my sponge, and I'm just going to sponge on the ink. Now, I will say, so this is a very, when it dries, it is definitely very light. Be patient with this when you're actually layering on your color to make sure that you get a nice, smooth, even application. Okay, so don't try to rush through this because you really want those embossed areas to pop. So just take your time and make sure that you get a nice inking all the way around. I've actually already done that to save some time. So here's my piece. It's actually already dry. As you can see, it lightened up quite a bit. So that's that. We're going to attach that to our pink pirouette piece. So this measures 3 by 4, so 3 by 4. This is just an 1/8 inch bigger, so it's 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. And we are going to layer that right on top. So it's just going to give a very tiny little strip around. Okay, I'll just take our snail. I love how brown and pink look together. That's one of my favorite color combinations. Okay, and then we're going to take our piece of Early Espresso, which then is another 1/8 inch bigger. So that's going to be 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to attach this piece to it using snail. Just really makes it pop off the panel, I think. Okay, now we're going to add our seam binding. This is the Early Espresso seam binding, and we're just going to do this real quick and then set it aside. Hopefully I can do this on camera without taking too long. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the nice thing with seam binding is that it's actually pretty forgiving. Okay, that was definitely way too big. So you just want to shrink it down to an appropriate size. Okay, I'm just going to detach that from the spool, and then we can fiddle with that again before we attach it to the card if necessary. So I'm just going to take that and I'm going to set that aside for right now. Okay, our next piece is going to be a strip of 1 by 3, and this is where we're going to stamp our sentiment. I'm using the sentiment from Sheltering Tree. This is the stamp set we're using. So we're going to use the Thinking of You, and I'm going to use Early Espresso ink. Okay. Tap, tap, tap. Make sure it's inked nicely, and make sure you center this nicely on your piece of cardstock. Okay, nice. We're done with that. And I'm actually going to give that just a second to dry. I'm going to work on the inside of my card. This is a piece of Whisper White cut at 4 by 5 1/4, standard layering size. And we're going to use the tree and leaves. I'm going to use Sahara Sand for the tree. And I'm going to put this down in the corner, so it's just subtle. Okay, so we're going to ink that up just down here in the corner. Have it kind of go off of the page. And again, this will dry lighter. That was why I used these colors, because it was light. Okay, so it's a little dark now, but it will lighten up. Okay, so we're done with that. And then I'm going to take my leaves, and I'm going to use Pink Pirouette. Again, we're going for light. Zoom out a little bit for you. And I'm going to, because the stamp is so large, I'm going to take my stamp pad to, my ink pad to my stamp. Just making sure it looked like it was dirty. This is a big stamp. Okay, just a nice inking. And then we're just going to line that up. Okay, and there we just have a nice little image for inside our card. Okay, and I'm going to let that just dry for a minute, and we'll go ahead and go back to our sentiment piece, which is dry. And we're going to add this to a piece of Pink Pirouette, which is 3 inches long by 1 1/8. Again, we're going with that 1/8 inch dimension, or layering. And let's give some snail on that. And this does butt up all the way to the end because I wanted it to match the matting. Okay. Got a little extra adhesive there. You can just rub that off. Make sure your fingers, of course, are clean before you do that. And I've got just a little. Okay, and then we're going to bring back in our other panel here. Now I can work with my bow just a little. This doesn't, it doesn't have to be the most gorgeous bow in the world. It just needs to look uniform. And because it's so thin, it really doesn't actually add any bulk to your card. So you could probably get away with regular postage with this because, like I said, it does go pretty flat. It's not as bulky as your other ribbons. Now you still have your knot, which again might cause it, so it's up to you. And then we're going to put our sentiment piece sentiment strip right at the top here. Okay, and I'm going to actually lay that with snail. Okay. Now I'm going to use dimensionals for to put this on the top. Get my dimensionals. It's just one of my favorite color combinations. Is brown and pink, and I'm just going to put a couple dimensionals right there on the ribbon just to kind of hold that down so it doesn't move. Okay. Peel those off. Bring in our card. This is a crumb cake, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then I'm just going to center this up in the middle with my card. Oh, I just love how pretty that is. Okay. And then for our inside piece, and you see how that lightened up? I think that's so beautiful. Okay. And then we're going to put that in the center it up in the middle, and you could stamp another sentiment in here if you wanted. I like to handwrite notes, so I usually like to just have one sentiment, but that is that. And then out here is our finished card. I hope that you liked today's card project. I hope and you will give it a try. Please hit the like button. subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment. And I'll see you soon.